Roll up, Ger. Roll up. We are tearing through this season.
Gather around, Tom.
Oh, we have another one. The greatest showman himself over there. This is a doozy, this episode.
This is a good one. Welcome very much, everybody, to the Tom and Gerry show. We hope you've all been enjoying this season. We've been enjoying putting it togetger, haven't we, Tom?
In fact,
it's run long, hasn't it? It's run long.
For all the grey and dullness in my life in the moment, this is like a gleaming light in the corner, just over in the corner where you go, I honestly, I genuinely have been loving, because it seems like a lot of work, but to be fair, I've been absolutely loving the shit out of putting in the effort into this, because
absolutely it has been a cornflakes reflector on the muddy bike wheel that was 2021.
Do you know what's even nicer though is the fact that people have been really engaging, heavily
absolutely engaging. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, and you love to see it, Tom. You love to see it.
It turns out people have the same interests as us, weird and diverse as they might be.
And you know what it is, Tom? That's why our audience continues to not grow at a rate, because we've carved out a niche for the audience that we have. They like it, we like it, and I think we are going to plateau nicely into the end of the season.
Well, here's the thing.
And I'm fine with that.
Do you know what? I couldn't live with it if you were going to cross the way from me going, Tom, let's do a deep dive into Love Island and his.
Yeah,
Gerry,
let's get that. Yeah, it's one thing that the Tom and Gerry show does not have, and that is 4-quadrant appeal.
Yeah, it's true. And that, you know what? I like that. That makes us kind of hipsters, and I'm okay with that if that is the case. Albeit some of the subjects we're into, nobody could say we're a one-trick pony.
I'm telling you,
diversity from Dolly Parton to Fred Dibnah. There we go.
And indeed to today's story, guys. We may not have 4-quadrant appeal, but for the 1 quadrant that is listening, have we got an end of the summer tale for you? As the summer draws to the close, myself and Tom got talking about how we would have spent our summers as kids. Maybe we went to theme parks, or maybe the fun fair came to town. And that led us on to the subject of today's story, a place called Action Park.
What a name. If you're not even trying, that's what you call a thing. Dun, dun, Action Park. You know what I mean?
Tom, were you familiar with Action Park before we kicked off here?
I didn't know what it was called, but I knew of it. I'd heard there was a horror show upstate, upstate New York, New Jersey direction. I knew there was, because the cousins used to regale us with stories of stuff from America, and this was big at the time in the 80s. So because
it's an urban legend of a place that, wouldn't you know it, is actually fucking real.
That's what blew my mind, because when you hear things as a child, you're like, era, I dreamt that, or they were talking about something else. Turns out, when you sent me on the link to it the other night, holy mother of Jesus, literally the first, he sent me a picture and went, if I sent you this picture, what would you think? And it was a picture of this slide that looked like something the outlaw would make after maybe a building site that was sucked up by NAMA, and a load of stuff was being sold out in Nace at a fucking yard sale. And he bought a load of fucking 2-foot pipes, drainage pipes, and just stuck them together and drammed it up a tree and said, down you go, kids. It looks like fucking death.
Well, we're going to bring you all, if you have heard of Action Park before. I heard of it early last year when articles started showing up to celebrate just the fact that people had gone to this place. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I've gotten very interested in it. Today we'd like to bring you a snippet of the story of Action Park.
Please.
So, Tom, the story of Action Park starts with a lad called Eugene Mulvahill in the mid-70s. Mulvahill was a former businessman who lost his place in Wall Street due to some Jordan Belfort-esque trading, shall we say. And then he turned his hand to property investment and bought up a ski resort in a place called Vernon, New Jersey, which performed admirably during the winter months, but of course, business tailed off in the summer. So Mulvahill said, okay, we can't ski in the summer, but what can we do?
They do this in all the ski places I used to go to back when, everybody had money. And but they just had nice mountain walks. They didn't try and fucking terraform the fucking mountain. Do you know what I mean? They just had great hiking, couple of zip lines, because those there was already infrastructure in there for it. They didn't go, let's fucking turn the place into a fucking haphazard
Yeah,
hazard.
let's turn it into the fucking itchy and scratchy land. I mean, Mulvahill was a very 80s, a very late 70s, 80s character. He was that sort of sleazy Trump type businessman. And like Tom, it might seem strange now because my knowledge of New Jersey stems from like the bit of Sopranos that I've seen and things like this. And I'm like a fun fair in an amusement park in New Jersey. Hey, here we go. In the 70s, there was a notion that New Jersey could actually be the next Orlando. I mean, that was where the money was heading. Everybody was like down to Orlando. It had Disneyland, Universal was coming along, California, and people were like, how can we replicate this success elsewhere? And upstate New York into New Jersey, it's an hour from Manhattan. It was that sort of Vernon, New Jersey was just that within that what they called the golden hour, an hour outside New York, where okay, if you draw people to this, we could possibly make some money out of it.
It's actually a lovely spot. I passed through it before, and it's a lovely, like you could see it working. But at most, what you do is you'd have, a couple of zip lines and stuff through the forest. That would have done you. But I love that, like Eugene Mulvahill, like owns a fucking digger company in Longford. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like, and you see the
Eugene Mulvahill plant.
Yeah, Eugene Mulvahill and Sons plant hire Ltd. Down the fucking down the arm of a digger. Yeah, don't go from fucking Wall Street to building a fucking.
But they certainly don't go from Wall Street to destitute. Mulvahill was kicked off Wall Street for trading malpractice, and hey, didn't go destitute. Turned his head to property development. These are one of these guys that are rich and will always be rich.
Yeah.
And as we see as the story rolls on, Tom, will be rich whether they like it or not. So, like we say, Mulvahill was onto something here, okay? His notion was that if people enjoy flying downhill on skis in the winter, what can they fly downhill in the summer? So he said, all right, we're talking water parks, slides, things like this. Now, the water park we know today, Tom, wasn't a very common thing in the late 70s. But Mulvahill's experience said, hey, people love flying downhill, barely controlling your momentum. Fuck it, let's put them on water and skate them down there. So he began construction on a number of water slides and attractions that would keep cash flowing in the downtime of the summer in a place that he later became known as Action Park. Now, Action Park was pipped by a place called Wet n Wild in Florida as being the quote-unquote first water park in America, but for most of the people in the northeast of the country, this was their very first experience with any sort of combination of slides, gravity, and wetness.
I love it. Wet n Wild. I remember hearing about Wet n Wild, and you're like...
I heard about a Wet n Wild that perhaps wasn't the Wet n Wild they're talking about here.
That's what I mean. It's like, oh, Jesus. I mean,
Is that the video series I remember? Tom, what's your mileage on water parks?
I've only ever been, truth be told, to fairly shit ones. I cracked an elbow in the dome in Tralee because there was no grips on the steps walking down, and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. You know, you Trabolgan, which is now, I think it's where they keep immigrants, holding cells, or, they keep immigrants.
The direct provisions, yeah.
The direct provision centre.
It's amazing the water parks of our youth are now concentration camps for all intents and purposes, because the one that I would have went to most was Mosney. I don't know if you ever came as far north from Mosney.
I was going to say Mosney, yeah.
And I got to tell you, as a kid, I was all for it. In fact, I do believe on an older episode of the Tom and Gerry show, I spoke about going to a place called the Rainbow Rapids.
Yes,
in Dublin in the mid 80s. I mean, there's just that lure of flying down a tube, soaking wet, devil be damned.
It was the number one thing because it was so easy to advertise. Like, there is no more sale needed. You're like, look, colour the pipe, send your child down it. Child goes, absolutely. They could have charged again at the top of it, like roller coasters in parks. They could have, and you would have paid it.
And some places did. In Mosney, you had all your slides, but then you had the Dragon Slide, which was an extra 50p to go. The bastards.
I remember that. But you paid it. You paid it because whatever it was, going fast. And we, especially here, we didn't have anything to do with ski slopes or anything like that. So, because we never got enough of it. But at the same time, if they had them, we would have gone for it. But there's something, it's the everyman skiing, isn't it? Like, skiing is kind of a bit exclusive in how it sounds. But water parks.
If you have a pair of GAA tugs, you can go down a water park.
Exactly. Nothing else required. Just keep your shit together.
So, Action Park, as it was known, didn't just have water slides. It also had a go-kart track. It added a swimming area, had other kiosks, games, hot dog stands, all the shit you'd come to associate with a park of its kind, and they said, all right, here we go, and opened its doors in 1978. And thanks to some of the most MTV-looking commercials with cheesy American voiceovers, Action Park, where you control the action, became a massive hit. And by 1980, it was drawing in crowds not just from New York State, but beyond, with thousands coming on a promise that Action Park was a place where you control the action. And in most instances, Tom, if we're talking about any other business, we'd wrap up the podcast here, give people the social media information, tell them to like and subscribe and fuck off. But that's not the story here. It's not a case of park opens, everyone has a good time, money's made, memories are created. There's a reason why we're starting this podcast 40 years later, and the reason why Action Park is still being discussed in movies, documentaries, articles, and podcasts. And that, Tom, is because, our dear listeners, you must know, Action Park was a fucking death trap.
You sent me on a clip. It was an animated clip. It wasn't just one particular, it was the knock-on effect of so many things that were fucking lethal. And how many pockets he must be in line to keep people away from, like, it was like the hokey version of everything went together, the janky version. I mean, there was no camera phones, so I suppose there was just to go under the radar, like we talk about so many times in these, anything pre-2000s, you could have gotten away with anything.
Action Park is the kind of place that if you turn around and get nostalgic and say everything was better when we were younger, when there was less regulations, less rules, you could do whatever you want, and it was great. Action Park is proof that no, it was fucking not. We're going to get into it, and it's pretty crazy. But we're going to, while I'll also do on the socials, if you keep an eye out, everybody, I'll throw out some of the ads for Action Park, and in truth, you'll see, if you were 5, 6, 7, 8 years of age looking at that, you'd be like, I'm fucking going to Action Park. I'm going to pester my kids to go to Action Park because this looks absolutely awesome. And that was the selling point on it, Tom, where you control the action. Like we said with Mulvahill back up the way, he loved the idea of, like, if you're skiing, you're skiing. You decide whether you go left, right, hit a tree, whatever you do. So he wanted to carry across that sense of freedom, thrill, and excitement over into water slides and carousels and rides, which
I would argue
we'll find that the two do not go together, Tom.
I would argue, Jared, that possibly he meant you control the action. In other words, I had nothing to do with it. Yeah, I just let you in the gate and fucking pointed you in the direction. You
honestly,
put yourself into that wall. I'm just saying, I had nothing to do with it.
Honestly, we're gonna get to that, Tom. So listen, there's a couple of reasons why Action Park gained such a notorious reputation for being unsafe, Tom. Number one, the layout of the park changed with its success. So every year, with every season that went by, Mulvahill said, okay, we need to get people back. We got to get people returning, okay? They were here, they experienced it, they fucked off home. Next summer, they're not going to come back until we add something new. So he would keep adding new things, new rides, new attractions. And it just meant that the place, which was originally designed as being so big, became so big. And it was a labyrinth that was easy to get lost or separated in, and also a place that was really, really easy to get fucking injured.
Do you know what? Kids were tougher back then, though, weren't they? In a way, because if you knew no different, because as you said, there wasn't that many water parks around to compare it to. There was plenty of adventure parks and everything else, but there wouldn't have been too much in the way of water parks. So you're kind of going, I guess water's dangerous, albeit
a lot of it.
There's a stone gone up through my foot here. Water's dangerous, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, like, it was the kind of place where you went for the water park adventure and then you realized quickly, or you heard ahead of time, that there was so much other stuff to do. But what it is you're now in your bathing costume, you're now in your togs, or you're now in your swimsuit. And you're like, fuck it, I'm a child, I'm 12. I'm not going to go back to the lockers and get me flip-flops and get whatever. I'm just going to trudge barefoot across bare concrete and asphalt in split 90-degree heat to go to a go-karting section where I'm going to fall off with only togs on onto that same bare concrete and get absolutely destroyed with road rash and what have you.
Only a real businessman, who probably had a couple of investors as well, who want to see, quarterly gains, that they wouldn't be happy with the same amount coming every year. Like, we had it was known as the Carnival. It would come to the local village here in Badger, and it would come for a week. It was the same thing every year. Did we
Absolutely.
care? Did we care?
You did not.
We didn't. So, and I mean, they were carny folk, as they say. absolutely fucking lethal. But I didn't care if they had something new. I was raging if they'd taken away a thing, but they probably took it away because, it literally fell apart on the way there. But this guy, you see, would have wanted to see an increase of numbers every year.
Absolutely. And as we'll get into it down the way, he might have had a crazy hair up his ass during the winter months and said, hey, you know what would be great for a ride? And couldn't be talked down from putting it in. I mean, like, I know the carnivals you're talking about, Tom, because I would say, law of averages, you have gone to a carnival, a fun fair, an amusement park, whatever it would be, in Ireland, the travelling amusements in Ireland. You would have gone to one that I also would have went to. Because if they went to your town, they probably came to my town. So I was probably on the same waltzer that you were, we called it the Terminator. You know, the one that goes... It went round like this.
Yes.
I don't know what other people call it. Sorry, podcast folk. It goes round like this. We called it the Terminator. You probably called it something else.
I think there was one, and it had a picture of the Terminator, airbrushed onto it. I think it was called the Terminator.
Not for nothing, Tom. I've seen the oddest fucking movies airbrushed onto carnivals in Ireland. Like, I there was one ride I seen, and I was like, I don't know why they put all their money into the Sherlock Holmes sequel with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. That they thought kids will love that forever, because they just had it airbrushed onto the side of a waltzer. It was like, this is it. This is the Sherlock Holmes ride.
Not to get too far off the subject, but airbrushing is so expensive, and you do wonder, like, it's when truckers get like the entire Lord of the Rings put on the back of a truck, that they will be eventually selling.
Yeah,
chances are, like, this could be a 10 grand paint job on the back of a truck. Now you get it, not whether you're into it or not. I see guys, they'll sometimes get nude women put over, and you're like, I can see the general appeal.
Yeah, women and dragons are evergreen for truckers.
Evergreen. But when you pick a specific fucking movie like The Quiet Man, which a guy not far from here has astronomically well painted all over his truck, and you're like, that's one for the ages.
But I could see someone being a big fan of The Quiet Man. I've seen a truck with Jet Li's The One airbrushed on it. Like, okay. What the fuck?
Okay, all right. Yeah, fair enough.
I'm like, did you really love the 2002 Jet Li actioner The One starring Jason Statham so much that you'd airbrush it on the side of your fucking 2018 Scania?
You sent me on a picture of, what did you call them? You know, the ones where it's like, it's a boat, essentially. It's like a swing. You sit on one side, and basically momentum is created by an old fucking blue rope, typically agricultural standard blue rope hanging down off. And I mean, the janky fucking Hail Mary welding. Now that I know a bit about welding, that went on those, and they just painted over it. And I remember the old man one time, he sat in one with me and went, now this fucker's lethal. You want to see what I...
This is going to go.
You want to see what I had to talk about him this morning, Ger, in the way of climbing a tree to limit. And this man took one look at the bracket on this yoke, went, yeah, we won't be going on this ever again.
We won't be going on this. I mean, it's good that we get this out of the way, Tom, because we're going to spend the next 45 minutes ripping into Action Park. So we may as well say that if we say Action Park is unsafe, wait till you hear the stuff we went on when we were small. The boats that Tom is talking about here, when the earliest carnivals and fun fairs came round to Enniskeane when I was small, there was like 3 things on it. There was a bouncy castle, there was bumper cars, and there was what we called, maybe you called them something different, we called them swing boats.
I think we called them swing boats or something.
Swing boats.
Yeah.
We're talking old-fashioned, from the 50s, wooden constructed Viking boats that sat 2 people, one either side. I had a rope, you had a rope. I pulled my rope, it came to me a bit. You pulled your rope, it came to you a bit. You kept that up, and all of a sudden, you were at a 90-degree angle to the ground.
Yeah, that was the thing. And you can hear the thing clanging and banging. Nobody's greased the fucking thing. There's no bearing. It's just literally...
There's nothing.
If you imagine
metal
a giant, the frame that would hold swings, typically, a giant version of one of them, metal pipe, fucking welded on pipe on over it to basically take the bracket that would hold these two, and like spot welds that would fail from a fucking 50 feet away would fail.
Do you remember, Tom, how they stopped them?
I think a lad just fucking caught it. I think literally
a guy did catch it. Yes, I mean, like, to stop teenagers on these swing boats just going for an hour, because who the fuck was going to stand in front of it? They had a device, they had a braking device, and then when they got you slow enough, a lad would just catch it. And the braking device was literally just a plank underneath it.
Yes, and it would rub back and forth.
Yes, you would lift. A guy would lift it up, like no levers, no pulleys, just lift it up, and it would rub the underside of the boat to the point where it would slow it down enough, and then you could catch it and you could say, right, get off the fuck. I blew the whistle at you. Get off.
And the bumpers, I mean, if we don't all have CTE as a result of those fucking bumpers, no belts, no, like just banging metal on metal. The rubber was completely perished because they were buying all this gear out of rundown parks in the UK. That's where all that shit was coming from.
And Germany, to this day, I was on bumper cars with the young fella over the summer, and everything, all the instructions in it is in German because it's just, hey, there you go. It's like mobile homes. It's like they went from here to here to here, and now they're here.
I told you about that. I think I did relive it on one of the episodes as a Tom and Gerry show previous. It was about the time in Holland when we went to Galaxy Lane today. There was a very German vibe to it, but it was literally like Eugene Das Mulvahill set this up. It was the most like nobody had any business being anywhere fucking near this on a scooter. No. Like one of the lads broke his arm and everything, sure. On a fucking roller coaster ride because he had his arms up and
hit something.
And there was literally a fucking beam, like a girder, running across a tunnel, and his arm fucking broke. Like the whole thing was based around space, space. And they had
space.
Their Mickey Mouse was a guy who's the fucking cereal box looking alien with the two Zaga bombs. Yeah. And he was just walking around called Elix aus Gelix. And basically it was just the worst kip like lethal, deadly dangerous. Lot of cultural appropriation, lot of questionable fucking, hit to dust Chinatown. It's like, this is, I'd be offended. I'd probably be offended if I was fucking lethal. So that makes sense that the fucking bumpers came out of Germany because they were like, if they were too dangerous to Germany, they were grand for 80s Ireland. Or actually, no, what, you just went on one?
Oh, I just went on one Tremor. Now that you know me and Tom's safety standards, let's get into the meat of Action Park. So, not for nothing, it was an impenetrable maze, very easy to get lost in when you're a child, and indeed when you're sober, and indeed, as we learn later on, Tom, when you're a sober child. But getting lost is the least of your worries at Action Park. The attractions, as we will generously describe them, Tom, that were on offer were a mix of the thrillingly daring to the outright borderline criminally dangerous. See, Eugene Mulvahill was a lot of things, but an engineer was not one of them. He'd get ideas for rides that seemed like they just cut through to his target audience and make them choose to come to Action Park instead of any other amusement place on offer. That was what he wanted to do. He wanted to say, look what we have. Nowhere else has this. No other place had these rides because the rides in Action Park were dangerous as fuck and seemed to have been drawn up by absolute fucking madmen. And that may not be all that far from the truth because a lot of the ride designers who worked in Action Park were deemed unhireable by the standards of other parks. But Gene said, yeah, fuck yeah. What have you got? If you've got it, show it to me, and I just very might well build it for you.
I love that there's back alley. You know the way you'd hear of like, malpractice from doctors who are taking bullets out of fucking people and stuff like that because they're being struck off. What level of crazy do you set out to be a designer and go, fuck safety? I'm telling you now, I want to build a yoke that shoots you over a mountain and catches you in a net on the other side. Yeah. And I don't want to fucking hear a word of health and safety. It ruins all the good stuff. Like, that's a fucking lunatic.
That's a lunatic. And these are the guys that if they went to, say, Disneyland or they went to Orlando and said, okay, let's make a ride that does X. Disneyland would say, well, here, you are fired. Or Orlando would say, could you please, code 45, get this man off the premises. And they'd go, fuck it, I've got ideas for great rides and nobody will even listen to them. And Eugene Mulvahill would say, I'll listen to them.
I like how Eugene himself got ideas. Like, listen to me. I got this. I was sleeping last night. Okay. I'm thinking we put fucking sharks in the tank. And you're going, and for other people not to pull him aside and go, Eugene, you've lost the fucking plot here. Like, you've lost the fucking rag. But to actually find these fucking crazy, this is some fucking Bond level.
This is lasers, and what we don't have here is any sort of oversight because Eugene Mulvahill is the designer and he's paying for everything. So what he says goes. So even if you came to him with a sort of safe ride, he'd go, brilliant. Let's tweak it. He wanted everything to be bigger, faster, more exciting, better than anywhere else. And let's take a look at some of the attractions on offer, Tom, and see what this fag box approach to ride building brought the good folk at Action Park.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so we can't go any further without the one that caught my eye first when I heard about Action. The first image I seen when I heard about Action Park was of this attraction that looks like it's one of these things. I think I seen it in a photo montage, which was like 50 images you won't believe aren't photoshopped. Do you know that kind of thing?
Yeah.
And what it was an attraction called the Cannonball Loop. Now, you got to remember that.
Sounds all right.
Sounds, hey, if a Cannonball Run was good, then a Cannonball Loop is surely good. Well, what we're talking about here, Tom, is as Action Park was ostensibly a water park, Eugene Mulvahill wanted a water slide like no other park had. So what he devised on a cocktail napkin that someone went and built was a 100-foot water slide that went down at a 45-degree angle and terminated in a complete loop-the-loop before spitting you out into a shallow pond. I'm not talking about, you went round in a circle. I'm talking about you did a complete 360 as you would in a roller coaster while inside a plastic tube.
So many things to go wrong there. Like everything's going fine. You're traveling down, peak velocity at 45 degrees. Who knows? I don't know what speed you'd be doing. But the difference between a roller coaster and this is both you are pinned to the roller coaster is pinned to the track. You don't have that luxury when you go upside down and your speedos lose traction and you go upside down. And you can't just go around in a straight line. You have to go up, off at an angle, and spin around. That ain't almost ever going to happen. Maybe if you actually rolled a cannonball down there, it might do it.
It might. A bowling ball might go around it. I mean, like, not for nothing, Tom. What do you need on a water slide? You need water. Yeah. And water will not travel uphill. No. I've tried. Some motherfuckers are always trying to kick water uphill, Tom. Yeah. That's what Eugene Mulvahill was trying to do. So when kids would go down, and it was always kids, when kids would go down the Cannonball Loop, they would go to the up part of it, the upswing of the loop, and all of a sudden they were on dry plastic. And it literally just ground their little arses to a halt, smashing them into the top of the loop, which had become the roof. They were on the floor. All of a sudden they were on the roof. The roof was now the floor. They smashed into it. And then they did not slide out of it. They just literally fell, rolled, tumbled, and cascaded out the other side. In fact, so many kids literally went up to the up part of it, up the vertical, as skateboarders say, and fell and smashed into it, that eventually they had to install a little porthole at the top of the slide so that they could open it and haul the broken little carcasses out.
Was this the same slide, Gerry, that some people were coming out with serious abrasions? They were going, well, I get the fucking hurt head and I get the busted shoulder, but why have they got abrasions?
Yeah, people were coming out of... This is the slide that people were coming out of it with large cuts on their back, large cuts on their body and all this kind of thing. So they had to go in and see, was there like a nail sticking out or some such that people were catching them on? And what they found was broken teeth embedded into the plastic.
I mean, a fucking double whammy. You're getting
it's insane.
Reefed to bits after getting fucking dropped on your head at 50 miles an hour. Like, fucking hell.
And this is the one, Tom, the Cannonball Loop. You can, at right this point, you could say, whoa, hang on. What kind of safety officer would sign off on that? What kind of testing process did this loop go through for people to say, okay, it's safe to do? I can tell you now, Tom, none. The only safety training that went on the Cannonball Loop was Eugene Mulvahill would offer his teenage employees $100 apiece if they would try it. Will you be the guinea pig for the Cannonball Loop? Here's $100. And they would go, fuck yeah. And they'd slide down and get all smashed up and come out the other side. And notes would be made, do not allow kids of this height. Do not allow kids of this weight. There was a very, very small sliver of kids that were the exact right height and the exact right weight, the exact right BMI, as we would say these days, that they would get enough downward velocity that would carry them, quote unquote, safely around the Cannonball Loop and out.
Can you imagine?
And everybody else, grip it and rip it.
Jesus Christ almighty. Like the notion that minimum amount of people actually made it out safely. And those are the people you see here after the fact. You know, do you know what? The 80s were grand. I come off with a scratch. It was because lads just about got away with it.
Yeah.
But it was the other gang of poor bastards who were ripped to shreds from teeth stuck in the fucking pipe.
Oh, it's the Alpine... The Cannonball Loop is one of the rides that when people went to Action Park to go on the Cannonball Loop, they found it always closed. That was the ride that was always shut for maintenance, always shut for... It was shut because it was a fucking death trap. And as such, a lot of people went to Action Park and didn't go on the Cannonball Loop, but some footage exists of it, and it's absolutely terrifying. I'm going to bring you to the next big attraction in Action Park, and that was what was known as the Alpine Slide. You see, in the wintertime, Action Park was a ski resort. And what do you like to do in ski resorts? You get your tobogganing and such like.
Yep.
Mulvahill did not invent this ride called the Alpine Slide. It is actually what's known as a dry toboggan, and you'll find them all over the place. It's a toboggan track that you can go down in summer months. Basically, you sit into a little wheeled sled, which has a brake on the front of it, and you go down a half pipe, and there's banked turns and such like. So really, it's like a concrete version of the luge that you see in the Winter Olympics.
Right, yeah.
The problem, Tom, is it's a concrete version of the luge that you see in the Winter Olympics.
Olympians are driving these things, not fucking 8-year-old fucking girls with big tits. Okay.
The track ran nearly 1 kilometer down the mountain.
Oh, fuck. Imagine it going wrong 50 meters in. There ain't no fucking coming back up.
Which it did frequently. You could, if you came flying off the Alpine Slide, which you did because you're a child and you control the action, if you're flying down, you may not know how much to brake when you get to your curves. You may not know how much to brake when you get to your turns. So inevitably, people would fly off. And the sides of the Alpine track were littered with hay bales where observers from the Action Park staff would say, okay, a guy flew off there, put a couple of hay bales there. All right, a guy flew off there, put a couple of hay bales there. And that was it. People flew down it. And we're talking about the brakes, Tom, that kids may not have known how to use your brakes. Tom, that's if the brakes on the sleds worked, which they frequently didn't. You could pull back and just find nothing and find yourself cascading off the side of a concrete track into the rocks and jagged parts of the slope below. Then you dusted yourself off, you walked back to the track, you waited for the next rider to go past, and you just jumped back on and tried to build your momentum up again before you got slammed in the back by the next sled coming down.
You know, what's their measurement for when it call it a day on one of their, you know, what's their, how many broken teeth this season on the old Alpine? 700. That's not bad. I mean, we're down on last year's numbers. I mean, it was into 900s last year. So is that, yes. Oh, but somebody lost their head. No, they lost their head on turn 6. It happened. Oh, fuck it. That's definitely a red flag. Anyway, maybe we should think about closing it down.
There was no closing it down because, again, there wasn't Action Park staff stationed every 100 feet down this kilometer-long track to see what was going on. It was basically just kids regulating themselves. So if you were a shibby shite and you were going down the Alpine Slide and you were pulling your brake and making sure you did everything correctly, all that guaranteed was that the guy behind you, who was a lot more devil may care, would literally smash right into the back of you on this concrete and asbestos track, and the two of you were going for a whack. Now, that's if you managed to get down. Even if you were the best Alpine Slide rider, safety was not guaranteed, Tom. In optimal conditions, going down the Alpine Slide, safety was not guaranteed. Because to get to the top of the kilometer-long track to get you down, there was a ski lift. Just as you see a ski lift in any ski resort, you got your sled at the bottom, you hooked it onto your ski lift, and it carried you to the top of the mountain, and you got off, and you rolled down. Okay?
It's fair enough.
It's fair enough. But what kids would do, being kids, would be they would watch out for Alpine Slide riders underneath them. And as they were going up on the ski lift, if they noticed an Alpine Slide rider coming underneath them, they would just accidentally elbow their sled off the ski lift, dropping it down onto the track in front of the person coming down, maliciously to smash into them. And all you need in a situation like this, Tom, is one kid to do it and get a laugh out of it. Then every kid says, I'm fucking doing that next time.
Of course. Even as you said it, I can picture 7-year-old me thinking, I think that's a good idea. Are we all in favor of this? Because I definitely think.
Watch, there's a guy coming, there's a guy coming, and just clatter your sled off the ski lift where it would fall 40 feet onto the track, and the guy would come and fucking barrel into it.
It's one thing to be spitting off the edge of bridges or whatever, but Jesus fucking Christ, to actually throw a sled down on top of a lad's head.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're 2 rides in here, Tom, all right? Next one I'm going to get to is another water attraction called the Tarzan Swing. Now, the Tarzan Swing was not big and it wasn't clever. It was very, very simple, but it put together 2 things kids love, swinging and splashing.
Yeah.
The Tarzan Swing was literally a platform above a pool of water that you were handed a T-bar. You were handed a T-bar on a rope.
Yeah.
You held onto it and you swung out and then you let go and you fell in the water. Simple enough, right?
Grand. Over the river, over the road. We used to do it.
Kids in rivers do it all over the place. But the problem is with this is that kids didn't really know what they were getting into. You had a mix of kids that knew what they were doing and kids that didn't know what they were doing. So you hand this Tarzan Swing to a 7-year-old and say, okay, you fucking let go when it gets to here, not before and not after. You let go after the water's shallow. You let go before you're going to hit the cliff that you get here. And you had a lot of kids that were just shibby shites that would either let go too quick or too soon and fall down, smack in the water, face plant, dislocating shoulders. That's if the child could support his own weight on a T-bar swing when he stepped off. Because a lot of people just stepped off and realized, holy shit, I'm not as strong as I thought, and just face planted straight into the water below. Not for nothing, Tom. The water below in the Tarzan Swing was ice cold. Because unlike a lot of water parks you go for now, where it's pools and it's ponds and it's such like, or indeed the indoor ones are nice and warm, the water in this particular ride was fed from a mountain stream. So even on the sunniest, hottest days, it was absolutely 0 degrees freezing. So what happened was a lot of kids would hit the water and then they would realize, I'm so cold, the shock would hit them and they'd just be like, and they couldn't swim.
They're absolutely acing it here at making it as shit as they possibly can. Other than putting fucking alligators in that water. What the fuck? Like, it's just let's make the T-bar out of fucking broken glass and let's put some alligators in the water.
I'll tell you, not helping the Tarzan Swing was the fact that on the way up to the Tarzan Swing, you queued past the pool to get to the platform to jump off, which meant that as you were jumping off, what you had was lines upon lines of hundreds of teenagers roaring at you. Pussy, jump, do a backflip, fuck you. So there was very set rules that when you jump off, you hold on to the thing, you drop at a certain point. But when you're being goaded and what have you, what we would have would be like kids swinging out and then jumping off and trying to moon before they hit the water, or just throwing up the fingers or yelling back, fuck you, or getting stuff thrown at them. It just basically became more of a Mad Max kind of a thing than anything that was at all enjoyable.
You know, I'm all for letting a child, you know, giving them freedom and stuff to get a little hurt and stuff. But it seems to me like nobody was watching fucking anything. It was like,
oh, Tom, we'll get to the staff that were watching them down in a little second. But what I will say is, if you had to be fished out of the pool at the Tarzan Swing, or indeed anywhere, the lifeguards would give you a bracelet. They would give you like a wristband. And on this wristband was written CFS.
Couldn't fucking swing.
Couldn't fucking swim. When you went on other water rides, the other lifeguards would know, watch this kid, he can't fucking swim. That was about what we're getting. But we're going to get to the staff now in a minute. But not before about the super go-karts, Tom. The super go-karts on the tracks in Motor World, one of the more popular areas of Action Park. I like go-karts, Tom. You like go-karts, I'm sure.
Love them.
We've been on go-karts a whole bunch of times.
But when they put the word super in front of it, it's like, well, well, I think you're onto a winner here, sir.
Yeah, well, the super go-karts were indeed super-powered go-karts, but there were restrictors on the engines to stop them from going at a speed that was unsafe for the track that they were on, which is fair enough. We've all been on a stag party. You know, you'd beg for the restrictors to be taken off. The restrictors on these particular go-karts was nothing more complicated than half a tennis ball around the accelerator pedal. Are not terribly unlike that. Basically, you couldn't put your foot down because there was a tennis ball in the way. So if you talked right to the staff, if they liked the look of you, if they were your friend, if you knew somebody that knew somebody, you could get the restrictor taken off your go-kart. But what the problem there was, Tom, was every other go-kart was going at safety regulation speed, while yours was going around the track at speeds of up to 60 miles an hour.
Here's the thing. Don't put fucking fast go-karts full stop. Just put little go-karts with little engines.
Just get slow go-karts.
Yes. Don't fucking get super fast ones and then stick a fucking tennis ball under the fucking accelerator. Jesus Christ. For fear some Formula 1 lads show up and just want to give it a go.
This is action park, Tom, where you control the action, and indeed you control your go-kart spiraling off the track, smashing into other cars, generally causing mayhem and destruction on the small super go-kart track.
And I go out here and say that it wasn't, a track specialist was running the show here either, I'd imagine. You just wrap one of these around a tree. You get your little, as you're dying on the fucking turn 8, somebody comes over and puts a tag on your wrist and says, CFG.
CFG. Well, from the super go-karts, we're going to go to the super speedboats, Tom, which, as you can imagine, you control the action, only now on water. The super speedboats were beside another attraction called the bumper boats. The bumper boats were for bumping. The super speedboats were for speeding. But why I'm just going to roll them all together was because when people got into the super speedboats, they just bumped the shit out of each other anyway. We're talking,
of course they did. Of course they did.
Mad New York, New Jersey teenagers fucked up on a summer day, speeding around in a pool on these souped-up speedboats with nothing to stop them except a lifeguard with a whistle to say, your 3 laps are done, please come in. Fuck you. Put the pedal down.
You'd swear none of the designers or Eugene was ever a child themselves. Like, I'm having to restrict myself as an adult speaking to you here because every one of these sounds fucking class to give it a go once when I was 12.
But like, the problem with the speedboats and the bumper boats, Tom, is I haven't even explained to you what's dangerous about it.
Well, go on.
Well,
I want to hear
we'll be here a while, Tom, before you realise the fact that the water that they were in was not just completely soaked with gasoline, because every one of these boats was pissing oil the whole length of the summer. So you got this murky, dark, oil-covered water, which is bad enough. But that water is also, Tom, infested with snakes.
If they were writing this stuff into the plot of Indiana Jones, you go, too much. Too much, lads.
This is like when we said with Dolly, like, if we told you everything good she did, you'd say we were making it up. This is the fucking opposite.
So full of snakes.
Full of snakes.
Petrol flowing around on it. And they're absolutely smashing into each other at speed.
Yes. And not for nothing, the other thing that was reported a lot in Action Park was that the boats themselves were quite small. So if you were an older teenager or just happened to be tall, you couldn't physically get into it. You were like your man driving his car in The Simpsons with his fucking knees out the window. So to do that, they would... Taller riders would just throw a leg out over the side of the boat.
Like a pony? Like
a pony.
Okay, right.
And that just meant that when the other boat smashed into you, it was just boat on leg on boat. A boat leg sandwich.
And even if they didn't get your leg and you went flying out, you're now in the snaky petrol water. Great.
You're now in the snaky petrol. There's no way to win in the bumper boats. I mean, but I will tell you, I'd go on the bumper boats quicker than I'd go on this next one. The next ride was called the Aqua Scoot, SKOOT, Tom.
Oh, well, I mean, that's just like Crazy Cuts, all spelled with K. That new Barbers that's after opening up down the town. Nothing sounds cooler than changing out a consonant for a C for a K.
Get a K.
Let's hear what Aquascoot. No doubt it's an absolute dream as well.
An Aquascoot is a water slide that's a 45-degree water slide going up about 100 feet in the air or what have you. You go to the top, you're given a hard sled. You're not given a rubber mat as you might expect for a water slide. You're given a hard sled because the slide on the Aquascoot, which leads down into another freezing cold pond, it wasn't a slide, Tom. It was the rollers that you'd see. Do you ever go to Woody's and the checkout rollers?
Holy fucking Jesus Christ.
And you put your bucket of paint on the roller and you just tap it and it rolls all the way to the end. Yes. The warehouse rollers kind of things. Yeah. We're talking about 100-foot slide made just of those.
Like the peak vibrations you would be meeting at fucking 20 feet into that.
Yeah. I mean, if you stayed on the sled, which many did not, all you could hope to expect. The idea was grand. It was very like the movie Cannonball Run, where you skip a car across the water, so to speak.
Yeah.
The idea would be that you hit the water on your hard plastic sled and that you skip across the water to the other side. And a lot of people made it. But what most people did when they hit the water, Tom, because they were leaning too far forward, was just immediately face plant into the water. This is where collarbones get broken. This is where shoulders get dislocated. This was, even for hardened Action Park fans, the Aquascoot was a ride they did not dare go on.
What kind of a psychopath stood by and saw it? Like, that is crazy and great. Like that's Dr. Nick Riviera level fucking building, just going, I was in the Woodies the other day and I see these rollers. Oh my goodness, I got so excited. All my shopping just flew down to the person a foot away. Well, how about we put 100 foot of these in a child? Like, fuck, lad.
It's mental.
And you hit the water, like water at that speed, it's hitting fucking concrete. I've got road rash from hitting water too hard. Yeah.
I've got water burns from the lance you used to wash your car.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So not for nothing, here we go. We got another couple before we move on, because Jesus Christ. Another big water slide they had was the Geronimo Falls, which was a vertical water pipe. Actually vertical, that you fell down, that just came to a turn at the bottom and you slid. The rules of the Geronimo Falls were very, very specific. Arms crossed across your shoulders like this, drop feet down. Don't fuck around on the Geronimo Falls, because you will not stay on it if you fuck around. The first 10 to 15 feet of the Geronimo Falls eventually had to be covered with a tarpaulin just to keep you in the tube.
So is it a full pipe or a half pipe?
It's a half pipe.
So you could easily just flop straight out.
You could easily just flop straight out. And to go on the Geronimo Falls, you climbed up to the top of this tower 100 feet in the air, 50 feet in the air, whatever it would be. You held on to a bar. Remember what we said about the Tarzan Swing, where can you support your own weight? It's time to find out. You held on to a bar and let your feet dangle down, and then you just let go into this vertical pipe. And you may or may not make it to the bottom. Well, I let me just say that again, Tom. One way or another, you're making it to the bottom.
All I'm saying is, like, all these things are unnecessarily fucking dangerous. Like literally put 5 degrees on that 90-degree pipe. Just put 5 degrees. Just
do anything. Just do something, please. Like, this is the one, the Geronimo Falls is where is the most reports of swimming tops coming off, togs being lost, because the sheer force of the water would just rip the togs clean work off you. And one report said that everybody that walked off the Geronimo Falls, every single person, to a man, walked funny, because you had 5 liters of water up your hole.
Yeah, you did. And you know your balls dangling unsuspectingly in your shorts, hitting that water at whatever fucking velocity you're hitting that water at. You know, those bells are gonna be ringing for a fucking week after that. Like, Jesus. I don't know what the female anatomy equivalent is to that, but I'm guessing it's not fucking pleasant.
No, I mean, and at least it was thought that went into the Geronimo Falls. There was another attraction called the diving cliffs, where we're literally just that, Tom, a 30-foot cliff that you jumped off into the water below. If you wanted to experience the rush of jumping 30 feet, here you are. Jump. You're in the water. Happy days. Sounds about right, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I've jumped off a few things myself at 30 feet, as a child, but yeah.
The issue here is that you had a queue of 1,000 teenagers behind you waiting for their turn, which they didn't always do. And the staff that were there didn't give a fuck. So once you jumped into the water, you had seconds to swim your ass the fuck out of the way, because another kid was coming down on top of you. They were literally sending the kids over one at a time. Go. Don't check that there's anybody out of the way. The rules with the diving cliffs were jump in, don't dive in, don't bomb in, don't starfish, don't cannonball, don't do anything, which is just asking kids to jump in, dive in, starfish, cannonball, do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
So literally you have all the problems of the Tarzan Swing minus the distraction of a rope. In actual fact, the diving cliffs became so dangerous that as later seasons rolled on, they drained it and they painted the bottom of it white, so that the lifeguards had at least a chance of seeing a body floating in
it. We're not shutting it down. We're just making it easier to see people.
And these problems came in the last attraction that we're going to talk about here, which was called the Tidal Wave Pool, Tom, which later became known as the Grave Pool. This was and I've been on one of these, and it's kind of fun. It's like where there's a fake wave simulated.
Yeah.
And it's all very well and good, and I've had fun, and I've found them sort of catching me a little bit and taking me a little bit off my feet. That's all right, but the wave pool in Action Park was 12 feet deep, or could generate a 12-foot swell at maximum power. This was the one where lifeguards basically didn't bother getting out of the water. Every time the wave pool turned on, they went in because they knew they were going to be dragging kids out left, right, and center.
Like, where did they get the machine that drove that? Was that ex-military or something? Like, what? Like, why do you go for the toughest fuck? Like, why? It's the same way reason. Where did they get the go-karts from that could do 60 miles an hour? Obviously, from some pro track going cheap. This Tidal fucking machine. I'm guessing they bought it from the fucking Marines, you know, who were simulating fucking I don't know what. Like, but what?
I mean, Eugene Mulvahill, as we learn going on, he wasn't the kind of man that worried too much about the buts. You know, if someone said, "Look, Gene, this machine will do X, Y, and Z," but he'd be like, "No, it can do X, Y, Z. That's all I want."
Like Eugene and his lads, it was the 80s, I suppose, and a lot of cocaine was going around. Good quality stuff too at the time. He must have felt, what's a couple of fucking bumps and bruises around here? You know what I mean? Well, what are you fucking caboose? You know what the fuck? As he's hoovering up fucking coke off the desk, like, because.
Yeah. And then his staff is hoovering up teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But listen, you know what? Before we get on to the staff, Tom, we're going to talk about a big contributing factor to Action Park's legacy, which we may have mentioned and you may have heard it up there, and that is the audience, the crowd, the people that were going there. So, like, it started or was sold as a fun day out for all the family, but as the years rolled on, Tom, it became very much a Lord of the Flies domain, ruled by overly confident teenagers and eager to impress younger kids, creating the perfect storm of absolute fuckery, where the stories of danger and madness just attracted more and more crazy bastards.
That sums up the 80s, really, isn't it? Where out the door you go, and you know devilment is going to happen between youngsters and all the rest of it. But literally, this place was built for acting bollocks. It was literally like Eugene was 12 himself and went, "Do you know what I love? I fucking love it if no parents were around and we could do all these things half-arsed. And sure, somebody gets hurt, they get hurt. It's grand."
And in truth, you're not far off the truth there, Tom, because there were attractions for parents. There were places where parents could sit down and have a beer and all this kind of crack. More on that later. But as a parent, you would say, it's a water park. I'm fairly certain my kids are relatively safe here, or this place wouldn't be open. I was at Disneyland down in Florida one time myself as a young man. Yeah, it swings and carousels. Like, what the fuck harm could it be? But they didn't know that Action Park was actually leaning the other way. And like, you know, Tom, I've been a young lad. You've been a young lad, you know. These days, I'm going to teach my own son that, look, son, it's okay to be scared not to do something. It's okay. Don't be bullied into things for peer pressure. Just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean you have to do it if you don't feel safe with it. But I can't stand over that statement and say, yeah, when I was a child, I adhered to that rule. Because if someone dared me to do it twice, I'd be like, fuck you.
Oh, yeah. And I've made peace with this, my own young fella, and you may have to do it. You will have to do it as well. Nature is nature. Your lad's going to be with the boys, and the Blackgarden is going to go on, and they'll do the same thing. They'll be egging each other on, and you're in a water park. You're in the shorts. It's fucking hot. It's fucking great. You're hanging around. Nobody's around to see. There's dangerous shit everywhere. But again, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, but it looks dangerous. That's all it looks. Do you know? Because I remember the very first time I went to a proper park, and I think it was Universal.
Yes.
And of course, coming from the swing boats fucking days, I'm looking at all sorts of bearings and stuff and going, yeah, geez, that looks in good condition. Like, Jesus Christ, they really do maintain this fucking place, don't they?
Nylon bearings, like six inches wide.
Do you know, this fucking place looks, wow, I can't even see the weld on that joint. That's fucking incredible. Wow, this is unbelievable. Nothing is banging and clanging. This is, wow. Okay, all right. So I was ultimately confident when we went on the two dragons where you're hanging.
Yes.
And you go spinning around the fucking town. There was no fear that
there's no danger.
Like, the swing boats were so much more scary, but there was always something in the back of your mind that believed that there was the top of their list was safety first, then fun. It would seem money was top of the fucking list here, and just get them in.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and not for nothing as well, Tom, when we talk about young people hurrying around the place and such, like, the other contributing factor to a lot of things that was happening with the audience of Action Park was alcohol.
Even on the Wikipedia page, it had a whole section of how loosey-goosey it was, even around fucking age of boozing.
There are bars, and kids are going to be kids. So kids that went, if they wanted to get their hands on alcohol, they could easily go to any one of the number of bars where staff their own age were serving alcohol, not checking for tickets.
I just had a picture of you as a 12-year-old behind, just fucking polishing a glass.
Serving a pint to you as a 12-year-old.
Literally polishing a glass like some, washed up, like, life is getting him down barman who could have been a great singer, But he's found himself now just fucking playing the odd show tune on the piano over across the way. And I've go in for a pint. You're like, let me tell you a story, kid. You're like, wait a second.
Kid.
You are a kid. Can I get a pint of Guinness, please, when you're ready? No problem.
Oh, yeah. No, the Action Park was rampant. If you seen a kid drinking out of a red and white Coca-Cola cardboard cup, usually it had a couple of shots of Jack Daniels in it that they got from the bar. Because, like we say, it's Action Park where you control the action and indeed your alcohol consumption. So when you do all that, and you're drunk and you're at the top of the Tarzan Swing and everybody's yelling at you to be a pussy, do a barrel roll, you're going to go out of your way to acquiesce to that.
You literally are going to turn around and say, hold my beer.
Hold my beer while I go on the super go-karts. Now, you good sir, take the tennis ball off this thing.
And I love about the most dangerous thing at Dollywood was the bees.
The bees, yes.
The bees might show
up. Not for nothing. I seen in a documentary on Action Park that there were bees everywhere in Action Park.
Of course,
they just didn't. They didn't stick to the same rules as Dollywood. If you got a mouthful of bees, fuck it, that's your fault.
Or a mouthful of snakes in the fucking petrol, the petrol water.
It's just the perfect storm of crazy shit with kids that only got crazier as every year went by. Because every time a child went back to school, Tom, and said, "You won't believe where I went to Action Park. I got drunk, fingered some young one on the queue for the fucking Tarzan Swing, and then I went in the Tarzan Swing, and look at this gnarly skin. Look, I dislocated my shoulder. That's why I'm in a sling. And the dumbass kids you were talking to would just go, deadly. I'm going back there next year. Or if nothing else, it wouldn't attract, like, the scholarly kids would be like, I don't want to go anywhere near that. So eventually at Action Park, as the 80s rolled on, all you were getting was the mad bastards.
That's where it probably weeds itself out. But also, there's always going to be the new age mad bastards who wants to give it a fucking go. Like,
yeah,
there's always going to be somebody wanting to give it a go. Always. And you know yourself, this isn't the Gael talk where you're trying to describe this young one and you wouldn't know she goes to another school.
Yeah.
All this shit, Action Park lets you do it. Like, I mean, in all fairness, peddle that children alone. It's fucking class. From a child's point of view, that there's no all the things you've been living with, i.e. your parents regulating things.
Yeah.
Adults regulating things. This is, you said it earlier, this is some Lord of the Flies shit, like.
It really is. And, like, remember that it's the mid-80s, so if you went to the cinema to see Goonies and you thought, wow, that looks great, just kids, no adults, rocking and rolling, doing whatever they want, sliding down slides, risking life and limb, and you wanted to recreate that, well, hey, get to Vernon, New Jersey. The kids that were paying to get into Action Park weren't the only problem here. The park provided employment for hundreds of local teenagers as young as 14 during the summer months. And they were a fucking problem because these kids had no prior training in amusement park management, and they seemed as eager to enjoy their summer as the people that they were supposed to be shepherding around the place.
If anybody who's seen Dirty Dancing,
yes.
They know the staff tend to make a small bit on the side, like, because they know the ins and outs of the whole fucking place. Now, I'm not suggesting all of a sudden you're going to fall in love with a young Jewish girl and you're going to dance and do the lift at the end. You're going to have to sneak her father out of the bed.
Yeah.
It's if you've got the keys to the kingdom and you're 15, and you want to impress a bunch of girls or a bunch of the boys or whatever, you're going to act the fucking Mickey, like.
You're going to act the Mickey. I mean, not for nothing. We've talked already about the CFS, the can't fucking swim badges. This is the kind of kids. They're 14. They're not going to stand over you and wait until you've got your arms crossed in the perfect position before dropping you down the Geronimo Falls. They don't give a fuck. They've not been trained. They're just like, yeah, go, go, go. They were brought in to work the hot dog stand, and all of a sudden they're telling you how to work the fucking super speedboats. They don't know. They don't care. They're having their own crack. They're probably 14-year-olds or not, Tom, almost certainly fucking hungover, because there are legendary stories of after-hours parties at Action Park where they just went to a shack, got shit-faced, and then just went on the speedboats or the rides themselves.
The more this gets less and less shocking as we're talking, the more and more 14-year-old me is thinking, fuck, I would have loved to go to this. I would have loved to go to this place, work at this place.
It's the kind of place that you have a window of employment that you start when you're 14, 15, 16, 17, you go every summer until you're 17, and then you go to college and you get a real job. But if you've been there since you were 14, your second summer's 15, when you show up 16 for your third summer, you're a manager.
Of course,
you're the head of security. You're the head honcho. You've been here a couple of years. Here you go. Here's the whip. Knock yourself out. And you might be the biggest fucking knucklehead going, the guy that wasn't able to get a job in the local supermarket, so you're just doing this shit 3 years in a row. And now you're running the place. You're not going to give a fuck that you're giving a guy a sled with no brakes going down the Alpine Slide. You're just like, knock yourself sideways, pal.
You're in a position of power. You've got your fluffy little mustache and you're eyeballing the girls as they come up along. You're trying to be cool as fuck. You know what I mean? Because now you got a management position. And if somebody tells you, hey, there's a hole in my sled, you're like, get down the fucking thing, you pussy. Get down the fucking thing.
Yeah. I suggest you stop being a pussy about it, sir.
Yeah, how about you take 2 toughen the fuck up tablets and get down the fucking slide?
So we've established here, Tom, that you put all this together and you have a park where anything goes. But it's not just a park where anything goes. It's a business that is a constant source of conflict with the wider community. Action Park is very much the noisy neighbours in Vernon, New Jersey. Like, initially, the occupants of Vernon, New Jersey were delighted that there was employment and commerce coming with this park, but when they seen what they were fucking getting, they quickly got tired of Eugene Mulvahill and his constant expansion, the relentless ensuing traffic, and as the years went by, the type of clientele that the park was attracting.
Listen, you know, and I know, the place would have been class day one because it would have been all shiny, all painted and everything. But as shit goes downhill a small bit, we've all been to those resorts where you go, oh yeah, this was cheap for a reason. And now you've got, you know, the sort of person who pushes a pushchair and lets the fag ash off their fag drop onto their child's head. You know that.
Well, and like, you know, to say that people like that would be coming along, that would be to suggest that any grown-ups were coming along. The only people who were coming along were kids. The oldest people would be like the 18-year-old cousin that had a car that could drive you to Action Park.
Right.
Go into town, load you up with booze, and then fuck off into Action Park. And the next time the people of Vernon, New Jersey would see those people would either be when there were fights breaking out on I-95 or when they were landing in the hospital. Because as they drove on, Tom, the local hospital in Vernon and its ambulance service basically became an infirmary for Action Park during peak seasons. We're talking on a daily basis, dozens, if not hundreds of abrasions, breaks, popped collarbones. And even worse, I mean, like, you could leave Action Point on your feet or you could leave it on a backboard. Like, eventually the complaints got so bad that Action Park had to buy their own ambulances so that they weren't using up the ones of the local hospital.
For fuck's sake, like
it's one thing to raise a few pounds for your local GA club so they have a defibrillator there if it's ever needed. It's quite another to be told you have to get an ambulance because we can't be fucking parked out there. The ambulances were parked outside Action Park like taxis outside a nightclub.
I remember something I've never seen in my life, but other than Longford Town, we did a gig there once, and I can't remember who was on the fucking lineup. I think Bishop was on the lineup with us or something. But we were staying down. We were being put up in a nice hotel, the whole lot. And we were in a bar, and we came outside. We were going to a nightclub, I remember, and there was like 2 ambulances parked outside, and like, you know, paramedics just chatting and stuff. It was like, what the fuck has gone on here? Nothing had gone on, Gerry. They were preempting.
Yes.
And we were no sooner, 3 minutes in that nightclub. And they just wanted to fucking fight myself and Bishop and whoever else is on the lineup. People just wanted to beat the fuck out of each other. They're like, we might just go back to the bar, would we? And it was when I investigated with locals afterwards, it was exactly that. It was like somebody was like, well, it's the center of town. It's an easy place to just if shit kicks off. It's a small fucking town. Yeah. But they just figured there might be war here tonight, so it's as well to park here.
We'll save on the diesel and just be there in the first place. I mean, like the first aid in Action Park seems to have been, you know, come into this shed and we'll spray you with iodine and send you back out. That was about it.
We have Sudocreme. Does that cover it? The bone. He's got a compound fracture sticking out of the skin. I can put on a lot of Sudocreme
on it. Again, the first aid staff were the same teenagers with the very basic first aid training that were just a case of, okay, if I can't pop it back into place and iodine ain't gonna do it, we better ring an ambulance.
This really is some Simpson shit, like, isn't it?
It genuinely is. And your next question will be, Thomas, how is this allowed to go on? Who the fuck would look at a place like Action Park down through the years and give it insurance? And the very simple answer to that, Tom, is nobody. Eugene Mulvahill didn't believe in insurance. The place wasn't insured. He believed that if you got fault, fuck it, that's your fault. This is Reagan's America in the 1980s. It's be responsible for yourself. The government is not going to look after you. So, he was sort of saying to himself, hey, you know what? 10 to 15 kids went down the Aquascoot and they didn't get their balls torn off. But if you got your balls torn off, well, I guess that's just your fault, okay? Everybody else can do it. You can't. Oh, you nearly drowned off the Tarzan Swing? Learn to fucking swim, kid, okay? You came off the Alpine Slide because you didn't put on enough brakes in that last turn? Well, I guess you know how to do it right the next time. He was like, fuck it. I am not going to insure any of you sons of bitches. So when he was sued, and he was, countless times, he would never settle through an insurance company. He would never settle through a law firm. He would force every single case to trial and drag it out for fucking years. Every case went to trial with his high-priced lawyer team to tear apart whatever local solicitor you had 6 years down the line after you lost a tooth from Action Park. And most people were just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm not dragging you in after this. Apart from a few cases down the way that we'll get talking about in a little second. But basically, it was cheaper for Action Park to fight the cases in court than pay for insurance.
So just leave it ticking over. Just literally have a direct, standing order with a solicitor's firm. Because they're going to be working for you for a few years, and just go, listen, a couple of grand every week buys, and you keep this fucking busy.
Because if he wanted to get the place insured, what would that mean, Tom? It would mean taking in health and safety inspectors and meeting standards and meeting codes. I'll be closed in a week.
I remember the first time I set up a business, and it was land surveying, and it was to basically be surveying fields by myself, like really by myself. Pheasants, foxes, frogs. Those are my colleagues on a most often daily basis. The odd time you may end up on a building site, and professional indemnity, fair enough, you take it out because you may get a thing wrong, and a thing might be built as a result of you getting it wrong.
Right.
But it was the public liability I had to take out. It was fucking expensive. It had to be up to 6 million. I'm like, I couldn't hurt somebody in 99% of the places I am. But to open a business and to get any contracts, you had to have these insurances. The fact that this place, just open it up and just stick some pipes up everywhere and just go, now we're a water park.
I mean, you hear stories of like, oh, so-and-so he slipped in Supermax and now he's suing them for 90 grand and all this kind of crack. And we all know, Tom, that there are places that are closing left, right and centre. Kids play places that can't stay open because of the price of insurance. And you're like, that's terrible. That's dreadful. If you want to see what the absolute opposite of that looks like, look at Action Park. But in the end, Mulvahill actually had to acquiesce to having some sort of insurance in place. Some regulator came along. Somebody was going to shut him down and says, you have to have some degree of insurance in place. So Eugene Mulvahill, Uncle Gene as he was known to his employees, said, okay, fair enough. The insurer that I choose is the services of London and World Insurance, which is based in the Cayman Islands, which had only been set up very, very recently, Tom, by one Mr. E. Mulvahill.
The stones to do that. Like to give it London and World Insurance. Like,
I'll just make you uppy, yeah.
I mean, if you looked into it, you've heard of NAMA.
Yeah.
NAMA was formed by a lot of, with them on board, I'm not saying which or whether, but with a lot of former property investors and property fucking and development companies. They actually formed it. They acquired a lot of these properties off their own companies, and then later in years to come, they sold them back far cheaper with the debt wiped away. And,
funny how that works, Tom.
Funny how that works, isn't it? Funny how that works.
How that works.
But you only find this shit out at the top. And you see, Eugene, all the way from Wall Street, would have been rubbing shoulders with people that are the white collar folk who can pull this shit off. And to us, it seems like, man, you'd want some balls to do that. For Eugene, it was just like, well, this is just a business move, and I don't give a fuck.
This is how it is. I don't need to look at any of this. I mean, like, it's exactly what it is. He was rubbing shoulders with all kinds of people. In fact, back in the 80s, one of his acquaintances was Donald Trump, who was brought up to Vernon, New Jersey to see Action Park and asked if he would like invest in it. And he was this close to actually doing it before he said, you know what? No, it's a little bit wet and wild for my liking. Donald Trump would not invest in this place. And on it went, Tom. And Action Park was very popular. But the attendance, of course, as these things do, Tom, as indeed it happened with Mosney, there comes to a point where attendance peaks and it starts to dwindle down. In Ireland with Mosney, it was when we all got notions in the 90s and said, hey, I'm not going to Meath for my holidays. I can go to Spain. I'm upwardly mobile. And
there you go.
Mosney goes on and gets sold on and becomes a concentration camp, as we mentioned. But in Action Park, the attendance peaked in the 80s when the amount of people who were willing to risk getting maimed started to be outnumbered by the amount of people with a bit of sense, okay? Because you reached a point where people were like, I've heard crazy stories about Action Park. I want to go to it. And then very shortly that became, I've heard so many crazy stories about Action Park that I'm not going anywhere near it. Mulvahill had at this stage given up control of the park due to an absolute slam dunk, dead to rights 100 count indictment case against him, with charges including money laundering, possibly for some local company that remained unnamed, theft, embezzlement, you fucking name it, they threw the book at this guy.
We're going to get him no other way, but also you can be guaranteed he'd a neck made of fucking steel anyway. At this stage, you know he's not, the place isn't getting a proper painting every year, the drains. If you like, even down to the services, like the mad shit that went on in the building of these different crazy fucking things, didn't even try and design them. You'd be guaranteed the toilets were fucking stink. Do you know what I mean?
A shadow
even down to that, like, you know, the floor was sticky. Like things.
I mean, like when you lose your crazy audience, you've lost everybody. When the people are like, you know, I used to like going to Action Park, but it's too dirty for me, a sweaty teenager that just wants to, you know, get a hand job in the toilets and fucking smoke weed and kill myself on the Tarzan swing.
Like there's some humor to the anti-experience. Like there's a place I know in Vegas. I think there might be one in New York. It's definitely in Vegas where basically they abuse the head off you when you go in.
Right.
Yeah, you know, you
get
in
your
the
food
door
down on your table, and
they make you wear a hat with a cock on it. They go, so what the fuck do you want for dinner? They're all actors, and it's like, oh, this is gas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
But there isn't going to be fucking broken glass in your burger.
No,
at the same time,
and you're not going to smash your arm on jagged rocks coming off an Alpine Slide.
No,
you know, and so it is with Action Park. Look, Tom, if this was a story of bumps and bruises on crazy Uncle Eugene's madcap funland, you know, that'd be one thing, okay? Had some laughs, broke a collarbone, gained some antibodies. We all had a good time. But the cold, hard fact of the matter is that Action Park had a body count, mostly consisting of young people who just went there to have a good time. There are 6 recorded fatalities at the park. There was an Alpine Slide crash that claimed the life of a young employee. And this will give you an idea of who Eugene Mulvahill was. Eugene Mulvahill fought for this death not to be reported because he was an employee that died and not a customer. And therefore, he could still claim that no customers were killed in Action Park. Jesus. There were multiple drownings in the aforementioned Tidal wave pool, which became known as a grave pool for a reason. It was an electrocution when somebody was thrown out of one of the speedboats into the water and a nearby fan shorted in the water and electrocuted them right there.
I love how he got thrown out of one of the speedboats, didn't die of fucking petroleum poisoning or bitten by snakes.
Or snake bites.
Again, this is some like hokey James Bond level 1960s fucking death trap. Like petrol water full of snakes, but he gets electrocuted on the like.
It's crazy, and the other death that was on record is a heart attack that somebody went into the ice cold water of the Tarzan swing, and when the shock of the water hit them, they went into cardiac arrest and passed away. I mean, like I say, Tom, there's funny stories about, well, I skinned my knee and I broke my arm and I was carried out of Action Park on a backboard, and I've fun stories to tell when I go back to school. But you got to remember, at the end of the day, there was a lot of kids didn't go back to school.
But there was a lad too. He's on the Alpine Slide. His car jumped out of it, and he struck a fucking rock.
That's the guy. That's the employee that died.
Oh, he was the employee, was he? Oh,
he was the employee that died, and that's the kind of thing, Tom, that, you know, we've got people suing Eugene Mulvahill, and he's dragging the cases out for years, and you're not getting the price of a broken collarbone from me, and all this kind of thing. But he also dragged out the case of that young man that died.
Nasty
and
bastard.
his mum and dad never seen justice from this guy because he hamstrung them, he dragged it out. No justice was ever done. I mean, like, it's all fun and games until someone loses an eye, Tom.
It was where that phrase was obviously fucking developed, I would imagine.
Developed in Action Park. So With lawsuits piling up, cash dwindling, and attendance flatlining, Action Park closed its doors in 1996. Tom, we could have went to this if we had the money.
We could have. Just look at 1996. Isn't that 96? Long ago?
This is not the Brady Bunch that's going to this thing. This is Malcolm in the Middle's going to this thing.
I've got to give you a phrase that's going to really upset you, actually. You said
Give it to me.
You said 1996. Apparently, youngsters nowadays call the 90s the late 1900s.
Jesus motherfucking Mary.
I swear to God, because it's 21 years from the 90s. So it's like, well, technically you're, yes.
Yeah,
but
don't fucking say that.
To say it like that would assume there's a fucking Jack the Ripper walking around a cobble street in the darkness of fucking gaslights. Like, Jesus, the 1900s.
So, with lawsuits piling up, there we go. We closed our doors, and that was despite Mulvahill's best efforts. He had a company called Great American Recreation that couldn't keep the doors open, couldn't keep the lights on. Action Park was bought by a company that owned a nearby park. They said, hey, you know what? We like that. We're going to buy it. They cleaned it up. They took out all the fucking death traps, and they renamed it Mountain Creek Park, Tom, where you control the Mountain Creek.
I mean, would you fucking touch? It must have been on some lovely fucking land. Would you touch it?
Beautiful land that was on, but I can't see kids going back to school and they're like, wow, I had a great time at Mountain Creek.
I suppose smart enough, though, kids come around every couple of years. You just got to hang on. All you got to do is hang on maybe 8-9 years and then fresh batch will be on. So if you've cleaned up your shit over a 5 to 6 year period, the new kids will come on and go, hey, what's Mountain Creek? Was this like Action? No. Action Park was over that way.
Hasn't been an Action Park here for 10 years.
Yeah. Wow, 10 years. That's so long ago. Exactly.
They didn't even have to wait 10 years, Tom, because the Mulvahill family bought the property back in 2010 after Mountain Creek didn't do any good. And in 2014, they reverted back to the name Action Park and reopened it in 2014, Tom. Not just we could have went to it, my kid could have went to it. At this point, Eugene Mulvahill was dead. He died in 2012 at the age of 78, with no specifics released to the public as to how he passed away. He was a 78-year-old man, Tom. What do you think took him in the end?
Probably give a go on one of his fucking pipes, I'd say, the mad cunt.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice. We call this the coffin slide, Eugene. You fucking mad cunt.
Like, the fact that the family, they bought the property back, if he died in 2012, probably fairly shook at that stage, 2010. Like, the notion that the family had of him, like, I see his son there is kind of big news as well. Like, but if your outlet had bought this and ran this fucking death trap for years, and you still think he's a class bloke, in fact, Action Park was such a fucking class thing that you want to buy it back for him, and you know what I mean, and call it Action Park again. Clearly, his family were buying the shit he was selling too. Like, what had he told them?
He was
like,
nothing if not a showman, Tom.
Cover up deaths. Like, and just go, oh, well,
he did.
People die, lads.
Gets to a point where you just don't care. I mean, you can look back at Eugene Mulvahill for most things and say, what a crazy bastard. Wow, he really fucking gave it a go. But when it gets to kids dying and being paralyzed off these things and him just being like, you know what, you should have fucking leaned left. That's when you go, yeah, fuck Eugene Mulvahill and all belonging to him. But there you go. Action Park 2.0 went on as Action Park for a couple of years, Tom, but it reverted back to Mountain Creek Water Park just a couple of years ago. And I hate to tell you this, Tom, that place is open right now. We can jump on a plane and go to it, although it's a much more sanitized, cleaned up version of the park with none of the crazy shit that they experienced in the 80s. But if you want to stand on the ground, it's there for you. Pay your money. Take your chance. Maybe the reason they changed it to Mountain Creek Water Park is because when you Google Action Park to this day, all you come up with is article after article, and indeed now podcast, Tom, about how it's the most fucking dangerous place on earth. To the point that it actually did, as I said earlier, inspire a movie a couple of years ago, loosely based on the events of Action Park, called Action Point, starring Johnny Knoxville and the Jackass team, which you may not have heard about because nobody really did. But there you go, Tom. If you want to go to Action Park, it's still there to this day, albeit with a much more family-friendly, death and dismemberment-free vibe.
Shite, because I was kind of hoping they would have, that the gates would just have that eerie close and everything's got fucking green shit growing all over it. Like the post-apocalyptic look to it. Like,
yeah.
So, you see people sneaking into the fucking dead zone around fucking Chernobyl or Fukushima.
If you want that experience, Tom, there's an abandoned amusement park in the middle of England somewhere, and it was based on Noel's house party. Mr. Blobby, the Mr. Blobby character.
Really?
There's a Mr. Blobby. I'm going to throw it up on the socials. There's a Mr. Blobby themed amusement arcade park, slides, rides, all that kind of shit that was left go to seed in the mid-90s, but it's still there to this day, and it looks like fucking hell on earth.
Go, yeah, can you? Oh, fuck. I mean, Mr. Blobby's terrifying anyway, but at the same time, like.
But a decaying 20-foot statue of Mr. Blobby leaning on one broken leg is some Fallout shit that I can't abide.
I bet you. I bet you know if you still went rooting around, the fucking drains and stuff around Action Park, which is now fucking whatever, Mountain Creek Water Park, you'd probably still find teeth and shit like that.
Oh yeah. Oh there's bodies buried there. That's where the fucking souls do not rest. And that, Tom, is the story of Action Park.
Fucking hell. Class.
There you go.
Like, you wouldn't believe it only for the amount that is out there on it. Like
it's crazy, and like, there's so many great documentaries and articles and indeed other bits and pieces on Action Park. We just said we'd bring you the cliff notes of it there, our short version of it, which still ran over the hour regardless. But hey, Tom, we're going to put a whole bunch of shit up on the socials for everybody to see. If you'd like to see all that, then you got to follow us on our socials. You'll get us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom and Gerry Show, or you'll get me at Gerry McBride if you want my flavour of bullshit, him at Tom_O'Matney if you'd like his flavour of bullshit. What else would we like them to do, Tom, on this thrill ride of a podcast?
Hit subscribe, of course, if this is your very first time listening. If you know anybody who's ever been to a Mad Bass, if you've been to fucking Action Park, class, please tell us about it. If you know anybody who's ever been to any kip of a yoke, any of the things we mentioned, if you've been on the old fucking slidey boaty things, or, maybe you lost a fucking tooth at the old chipper, the tooth chipper like on The Simpsons.
If you listened to our stories and said to yourself, that doesn't sound so bad, I was on XYZ, let us know in the comments. And I'll tell you another thing, Tom, you mentioned Bishop in the middle of the whole thing there. You did a gig with him.
Yeah.
He would have been of an age that he probably fucking went to Action Park because it was right in his neighborhood.
He grew up in Flushing, Queens, so yeah, of course he would have. Yeah.
Let's see if we can get him on the podcast and have a chat about it. I mean, we can try, right?
We can try.
Yeah. You seem pally with him. You go on ahead.
No.
You did one more gig with him than I did. I'll put it to you like that.
What we also want you to do, if you can, please leave a 5-star review and comment.
Yes.
If you can't do that on whatever platform you're listening to, screen grab it. As Gerry talked about before, and post it on your whatchamacallit, tagging us in it. If you see a suggestion or a question from people going, hey, where can I find a really good podcast? I'm sick to me bollocks of listening to fucking true crime and things. And people have been sending them our way. So thank you very much to the people that have. If you spot that, tag the Tom and Gerry Show in it. People are going to end up enjoying some form of it anyway. Everything from Dolly Parton to Fred Dibnah and everything in between. I don't think you can go too far wrong.
This was a good episode, Tom, but I feel like we missed out on a Fred Dibnah quote or two in the middle of it.
I had it lined up a few points where if we got into the mechanics of, like when he was on roller coaster, talking about, banging and clanging, driving around.
Yeah, well, you come off the Alpine Slide, Tom, what are you going to get? Don't say it.
After you!
Listen, that's absolutely fantastic. Tom, always a pleasure, pal.
Magnificent. Thank you very much, Gerry, for bringing us Action Park. Till the next time.
Good luck.